Healing Light takes you on a journey where you'll explore the nuances of energy. You'll visit the angelic realms and study the ancient wisdom and teachings of spirituality. We want you to reach within and discover the magnificent being that you came here to be. We help shine God's divine healing light by bringing love, light, and blessings into your world. And now, here is the host of Healing Light, Terry Van Horn.
Welcome to Healing Light. This is Terry Van Horn, and I want to thank you all so very much for being here with us today. And, I have to tell you that earlier today, I was the victim of a very, very vicious attack by sinus and allergies. So I've asked God and the angels to help me out with this today so that I can get through this time period without having another coughing, choking attack. So if you can just say a little quick prayer as well, I would certainly appreciate it. It's amazing that people who are healers sometimes are the ones who end up sick most of the time. And that's because we're so busy doing things for everybody else that we don't stop and take time to do stuff for us. And that's exactly what's happened to me lately. And so I've learned the lesson. I know what it is, and I'm going to take evasive and corrective measures immediately so that I can get me back in shape so that I can have more time and energy to work with and help others. But what I do is I do healing sessions, particularly distant healing. I do a lot of color, vibrational, sound healing, working with crystals, a tremendous amount. And I do intuitive readings and counseling sessions. I am also an earthly representative for a group of angels and guides that call themselves the Fifth Element. And that's really a great name because the fifth element is love. And so that's what they're doing, is that they come just filled with love and devotion and compassion, wanting to help us all the time. So they always send great messages and help us along with everything that we're doing. I'm also the author of several books, Chakras, which is all about the major, minor, and, the traditional chakras. I have 365 Days of Blessings, which is like a daily devotional. Harness the Power of the Light, which is all on psychic protection. Manifesting the Life You Desire, which is finding that special thing that you came here to do, and then making a plan and helping you achieve that desire and move forward. Then I have the Magic of Crystals, which is kind of like Crystals 101, teaches you a little bit about them from not only a metaphysical standpoint, but also from a standpoint of science, geology, physics, all sorts of things. And then I have the Mystery of Crystals, which is a little bit more advanced. Now you can find all of these on Amazon or Kindle. And then you can find out anything else that you want to know about me and my services on my website at Healing Light Online or on my Facebook page, Healing Light. So I'm on all the social media stuff, and I would love for you to join us. Now, today I thought, we are coming up on Valentine's Day. And, this is the time that everybody starts thinking about hearts and loves and Cupid and, relationships, and the people who are in a relationship have all sorts of expectations, or just saying, gosh, why isn't my relationship like everybody else's? Then the people who don't have a relationship, they're all freaked out because they don't have one right now. And, Valentine's Day is really just one of those times that can bring out a lot of emotions. It can also bring out a lot of crazy into some people because they're so worried about it and worried about, am I going to find my soulmate? Am I going to find my twin flame? And, what's going on with all of this? Whenever I used to do readings on the radio, almost every one was a question about soulmates. And it got to the point where honestly, I was kind of avoiding those because the questions themselves weren't really that accurate, because we have a lot of soulmates, we have twin flames, we have all sorts of partners and companions that travel with us from one lifetime to the other. And, I was constantly getting questions about, like, am I with my soulmate? Am I going to find my soulmate? Who is this person? What do they look like? I really thought that this person that I was with this last time was my soulmate, and now I don't think they are. And so now I don't know what I'm going to do with the rest of my life because I missed my chance. Or, how can I bring my soulmate to me? Who's my twin flame? They were asking me so many of the very similar questions, but questions that told me that, first of all, there are a lot of people out there that don't really completely understand the difference between a soulmate and a twin flame. I also joked a lot that, if I had $1 every time I was asked a question about somebody's soulmate, I could probably buy my own island in the Caribbean, because anybody who is intuitive gets these questions constantly. So, I wanted to share a little bit of insight about our soulmates and our twin flames. And then hopefully, if we can get to it, the other very important relationships that we have in our lives that I refer to as the toxic bombs, because we've all had a relationship with a toxic bomb. And, those are powerful relationships too. So let's start with the soulmate question. Now, a soulmate is somebody that we have a really intense emotional and soul connection with. Now, the cool thing about it is that we can have a lot of soulmates during our lifetime. Our soulmates can be friends, they can be family members, it can be someone that we're romantic with. This is basically somebody that we have connected with soul to soul, and we've connected with them several times during past lives. Now, the thing about soulmates is that they can be any gender. And I'm going to throw it out there, any species. One of my most intense soulmate relationships was with a horse. Now, not that I did anything weird. I love this horse, and he taught me. He was my greatest teacher. Now, I know that sounds weird, but if you've got a relationship with an animal, sometimes they push you and they teach you things that people can't teach you. Because some people, obviously not me, but some people might be a little bit stubborn, controlling, or headstrong, that they may not want to listen to other people telling them the same information and messages. But yet, when an animal, or sometimes a small child, forces them to learn things like patience, things like that, then they learn that lesson. And that person or animal, that being, has been a very close companion or soulmate for them. It's helped them to grow. Now, these relationships with soulmates, they are formed, over multiple lifetimes. And, they are based on helping each other grow on an emotional and spiritual level. You guys have made a deal with each other, and we're going to do this, and we're going to help and support each other to grow and expand during each lifetime. Now, sometimes you can also have karmic ties to your soulmates. And when that happens, then there are lessons and issues that we need to work out with them. Sometimes you will connect with somebody that you feel like you have known forever and ever and ever, and you just go and you connect, there's an issue, buttons are pushed, things are resolved, and then poof, it's gone. And then you're just standing there, staring up at the sky saying, what just happened here? But the great thing is that we continue to incarnate with our soulmates until we're able to work out the karmic issues. So we may be with them several lifetimes. It just depends on how long it takes us to work it all out. So what I thought I would do is create a list of different traits and characteristics of what a soulmate is like so that you can understand what and who a soulmate is. Because, I've had people really be taken aback and really shocked whenever I told them that one of my soulmates was a horse. I have another one that's a dog who has been with me actually twice during this lifetime. And his whole thing is about perseverance and loyalty. And he teaches me that every single day. And, my husband jokes that he is like my little shadow. He's with me all the time. So, don't just think that a soulmate is someone of the opposite gender, because that is not necessarily the truth. Another thing is, there's not just one. You have a bunch of them. Whenever I started thinking about it a while back, I came up with immediately 7 different people from my life that I know for certain are soulmates. And, they're friends, family, different genders, different types of relationships. We're going to take a break, and when we get back, I'm going to tell you about the traits and characteristics of a soulmate so that you can identify yours too.
You're listening to OTR FM, part of the IOM radio network.
Om Times Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. Om Times, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
This is Terry Van Horn, and I want to invite you to join me for my weekly radio show, Healing Light, on Om Times Radio every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. On Healing Light, we want to bring love, light, and blessings into your world. You can find out more about us at www.healinglightonline.com. Blessings.
Do you have time to read that inspiring book or that blog post you've been meaning to get to? In your busy world, how do you improve yourself and keep your life going? I'm Lisa Kay, and my Between Heaven and Earth radio show can transform your life just by listening. Be uplifted with inspiring topics, positive stories, and ideas that really work. Between Heaven and Earth Radio is conscious living for your soul, every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time.
Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. Om Times Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single Om Times endeavor. Host your show with Om Times Radio Network.
You're listening to OTR FM, part of the IOM radio network.
This is Healing Light with Terry Van Horn, and today we're talking about soulmates, twin flames, and toxic bombs. Now, we've talked a little bit about the different soulmates, But let's talk about more specifics, like how do you know that this is your soulmate? Well, I have a few different ways to find this. I actually came up with 11 different, categories or different ways that you can know that someone is your soulmate. Now, soulmates are totally about compatibility. This is going to be somebody who matches you and your vibrational pattern beat for beat. Okay? You guys are like separated, twins separated at birth. It's basically, how you kind of fit in and the way that you fit in with each other. Now, generally, a soulmate, and this part is so funny. I love this part. It's somebody that you've met at least once before in your lives, but you find yourselves reacquainted to begin your relationship or your experience. Now, that's really cool. So you've had an opportunity to bump into or meet each other once. And then, you come back together and actually start that relationship. So it's really cool how that happens. And that's also a great indicator as to how you can, kind of spot this person. So I really like that part of it. Okay, the next one. You'll recognize them as being familiar. They can remind you of a loved one. Or, sometimes they even remind you of yourself because you guys are like so on the same vibrational frequency that, it's like, of course I know you. Of course we've been together like forever. So, it sounds really strange, but it's true. Just like, there was someone that I met about a month or two ago. And one of the things that she said was, how have I not met you before? Because we did the same things and went to the same places as far as like, psychic gatherings and fairs and things like that. And she couldn't believe that we had not run into each other during the last 5 or 10 years, but we never had until just about a month or two ago. So that's the feeling that you're going to have with this person. Now, the next one is once you really meet them, okay, not the bumping into thing, but once you really, really get a chance to meet them, you're going to immediately know and feel this person. There's going to be something that you just can't put it into words, You cannot describe how you're feeling to really understand and know that this is somebody that you need to be with. Now, understand that I'm not using the word need as in desperation or stalker, okay? But sometimes there are people that we meet in our lives and it's like, you and I need to hang out more often. There's something we need to do here. And so it's like that. So I'm not talking about, in any of these descriptions, I'm really not talking about like sexual attraction or anything like that. Because soulmates come, with different genders. I am talking about this is an emotional recognizing each other. You're seeing that person's soul and you're recognizing them. And so that is why you feel like you just need to be with them and to be around them. Now, the next one is that your soulmate is going to help you change for the better. Now, in this relationship, you're going to encourage each other to learn and to grow and to expand your horizons. You're going to really be supportive of each other. I mean, think about it. You think about how like best friends are right there saying, yeah, you go for it and you do this and you do that and I know you can do it, and you come up with some bizarre idea and like, a best friend or a sibling is like, yes, and they're your number one cheerleader. That's the way this person is. And it can be a friend or a sibling. But they will just be there and help you to learn, grow, and expand, and they're just going to support you and hold you up every step of the way. Now, another one is that you may have had some dreams or sensing that you're going to meet somebody special. Now, that is actually the two of you on the etheric plane signaling each other, connecting on a soul level, so that the physical body is understanding that, yeah, I'm going to meet this person. I'm going to be meeting somebody who is going to have a big impact on my life. And so you'll get an idea, like something's about to happen. Or when you meet them, it feels like one of those special ta-da kind of moments. And that's what we're talking about here. Now, the next one is that there's more than just a feeling about being around this person. Your intuition is going to let you know that this is somebody that you should really, really be with. And you're going to be able to connect with this person on a way completely different from anybody else in the world. You'll be able to connect with them in ways that you never did with anyone else. And this person is going to make you feel, like safe and warm and cozy, like you're home. This is where I belong. And that's when you have that relationship with that person, because they are helping you feel that this is where I belong. These are my people. This is, my spirit family. Now, when you look in your soulmate eyes, you're going to see something different. You're not just going to be looking at their eyes. You're not going to be, saying, okay, well, you have nice brown, blue, green eyes or whatever. You're going to be seeing their soul. It's going to be a totally different gaze. And so that's another way to do it, because you really do connect deeply. Now, of course, you're going to feel like you've been with this person forever. You two have told each other everything. You have shared your deepest, darkest secrets, and you've only known each other an hour. That's the comfort level. That's the intensity of the relationship. You feel like you have known them and talked to them and been around them forever. And so that is a signal that you have spent many lifetimes together, because energetically you really do know each other and you've been able to connect with each other so intensely. So that's another big indicator that you guys have been together before. Now, this one is good, because it's like no matter how quirky or weird you and your soulmate are, the other one's going to get it. Okay, so if somebody just gets like completely geeked out over, everybody was all geeked out over the Star Wars. Well, your soulmate totally understands. It's like, well, yeah, who wouldn't be completely freaked out and standing in line for hours to see that? Your soulmate gets it. They get you. You finish each other's sentences. You know what they're thinking. You know how two people can just look at each other and all of a sudden they start laughing because they know exactly what the other one is thinking? That doesn't necessarily happen just because they've been around each other for a long time. It can happen within minutes or hours, because it's happened for years and years and years in the past. So you really are connected. You have like this little wireless system going on in your heads, so that you really are on the same thoughts and you're able to do things together, almost, in unison. Now, the other thing that's really interesting and is a great sign that someone is your soulmate is that you have all this great connection, but for some reason, and there can be a million of them, you haven't seen each other for a long time. You're far away from each other. You've not been able to be together. But you can still read each other's minds. And when you get back together, you pick back up immediately in step. So there's none of this awkward, let's get to know each other again kind of thing. I mean, it's like you just, went your separate ways 10 minutes ago and you're right back together again. That is because you are so much in sync with each other. And it doesn't matter if you have been separated for a few days, weeks, months, or years. It will always happen that way. You're just right back in step, still finishing each other's sentences, and still knowing what the other person is going to say or think, or, you end up saying the same thing at the same time. Now, number 11, as I said before, is that your soulmate can be in the form of a companion animal. They can help teach you lessons that you don't want to listen to from humans. That horse taught me all about patience and compassion and seeing things from another's eyes. Honestly, at that point in my life, I would have never, ever listened to a person try to teach me lessons on those things. But he did, and he did it in a way that it really made a huge impression on me. So now, every single thing that I say or do actually is as a result of the lessons that I learned with him. And it's amazing. That is how it works. So we have a lot of different soulmates in our lives for a lot of different reasons. Now, when we get back, we're going to talk about twin flames and see how they compare to soulmates.
This is OTR-FM, part of the IOM radio network.
The number one reason girls drop out of school in sub-Saharan Africa is lack of access to feminine hygiene products. The Pads for Schoolgirls Project, an outreach of Humanity Healing International, is changing this paradigm by setting up sewing programs at schools, teaching girls a vocational skill, while producing the reusable pads that help keep them attending classes. The girls pay it forward by making and giving pad kits to other girls in need. To learn more, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is.
Hi everyone, this is Shay Parker, the host of Best of the Best, which airs live right here on IOM Radio every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Pacific. I'm super excited to bring you expert guest hosts, spiritual discussions, free psychic readings, and so much more. I can promise that you will not want to miss this one-of-a-kind, fun, yet touching, down-to-earth show. Join us every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Pacific on OTR-FM. This is Shay Parker, and I can't wait to see you there.
Hi, this is Angela Levesque, host of Entanglement Radio. Join me Wednesdays at 12 p.m. Eastern for inspiring conversations with visionaries in spiritual science and conscious healing. Entanglement Radio, Wednesdays at 12 p.m. Eastern. Transcendent talk for the conscious mind.
Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. Om Times Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single Om Times endeavor. Host your show with Om Times Radio Network.
You're listening to OTR-FM, part of the IOM radio network.
This is Terry Van Horn, and you're listening to Healing Light. And today we're talking about soulmates and twin flames. Now, we've just been talking about soulmates and how you can have them, several of them, in your life. Because soulmates are companions that help us grow and expand. And, a soulmate, the names are really a little bit misleading, I think, sometimes, because the soulmate, based on the description, sounds like this person is your identical twin. And in a lot of ways, actually, they are, because they're, like a really great mirror for you. And, you guys are on the same level and everything moves forward. But now let's talk about the twin flame, because that's the big one. And there is one for each one of us. So, twin flames are two halves of a single soul, but each one is complete on its own. Okay? That totally doesn't make any sense, but that's the way it works. Now, they are so much more complicated than soulmates. So I'm going to do the best I can to explain this in a much easier form. So, see the universe, everything being as one big, huge, energy, which is the God energy, which is love. And then God goes and he splits it off between, him, us, angels, etc. So now we trickle down to us. And what we do is our soul divides into two. Now, each half can function completely on its own, but it still knows that it's half of a whole soul. Kind of think about bookmarks, where they have like the agate bookmarks. It was all one rock, and then they cut it in half and polished it. Well, it was all one rock. They split it in half, they polished it, and now they're bookends. They work on either end of your line of books. Either one is complete on its own. But it also remembers that it was still all part of that one big geode at one time. That's the way we are with our twin flame. This is kind of how they originated. Now, the relationship is a whole lot more complicated than just their name, because their name implies that this is just your twin. But really, your twin flame is your catalyst for change and growth. That doesn't sound so bad, right? Except there comes a lot of fine print with the twin flame. And part of that fine print reads instant karma and drama. So, things are a little different with the twin flame. Not quite as smooth as it was with the soulmate. Now, each twin can and does incarnate over and over and over again so that they can learn their lessons and that they can develop on a spiritual level. Just like we do all the time, okay? Nothing different. We're all doing that. But twin flames don't necessarily incarnate together. As a matter of fact, they generally incarnate separately more than they do together. They'll bump into each other every once in a while, but they just don't have that connected relationship. Now, the reason why is that twin flames, once that soul divided and it's coming to Earth, and it knows that it's going to go through several incarnations in Earth, those two souls said they wanted to experience as much on the earthly plane as possible. Yeah, we all want to do that, right? So that's part of the deal. So the best way to learn as much as possible on the earthly plane is to send each other off in opposite directions. You go do this and learn all these other things. I'm going to do this and learn all of these things. We're going to come back together and we're going to know everything. That's the basis of a twin flame. Now, they can come together like as mirrors. And whenever they connect and they are actually in a relationship, it can be extremely chaotic and stressful because it is so amazingly intense. See, twin flames act as mirrors. And unfortunately, they're not the pretty, flattering mirrors. They're the ones that highlight each other's imperfections so that they can be corrected. And then, whenever we ultimately reconnect with each other, we're going to be perfect as a whole. So, during the process, we're going to be pushing each other's buttons until we're able to merge into a relationship that is in balance and it's harmonious. Now, doesn't really sound like that whole, lovey, kissy, let's all be best friends, soulmate relationship. Assuming you don't kill each other in the process. You do not erupt into a major war, which happens quite often with twin flames. You go through this process. And when you're married to your twin flame, that can be like the ultimate challenge because you are constantly pushing buttons, doing things, forcing each other to change. You see, the soulmate is encouraging you to change and helping you by doing their little, shaking their pom-poms and saying, go you, go you. But the twin flame is mirroring and punching buttons. And it sets you off, and then you start changing. So if you don't do it the easy, loving, peaceful way, the touchy-feely way with the soulmates, then you start getting it with the twin flame. And it's hard. Now, one of the really interesting things about twin flames is that they are still complete opposites. Remember, you went one way, your twin flame went the other. So you are complete opposites, okay? You probably are from totally different backgrounds, different religions, different races, different economic levels. You're going to be like the total opposite of each other so that you can facilitate this growth a great deal more. And then once you do it, then you actually and ultimately reach ascension, assuming you don't kill each other in the process. But these relationships can be very chaotic, very stressful, very difficult. But they are like coming home because the two people know that they belong together on every level. So it can be very frustrating because you know you belong to this person. You guys go together. There is nobody else on the planet for you but this person. And you're about to just, scream and run away and never come back. That makes perfect sense. But see, what happens is if you really realize it and know that the two of you belong together, then it can help you so that you can get past the difficulties, learn the lessons, and create that ultimate relationship. Now, once the relationship gets a lot more balanced and harmonious, then you can grow together spiritually and just skyrocket into ascension. This is when you guys come perfectly into alignment and you facilitate your joint ascension. So working together, once you get past the chaos and the stress, then you'll help each other actually discover spiritual gifts even more. And they'll discover their own even more. So it's really cool. Now, I was having a hard time coming up with all the different characteristics of twin flame relationships. And fortunately, there is a list on N5D on that website that was created by Max and Lana. And they came up with some things that really, really resonated for me. So we're going to go over them. Okay, first of all, you've had dreams or visions of the person and of the energetic relationship before you've ever met on this lifetime. You knew somebody was coming, but you didn't know who, you didn't know what they looked like, but you knew it was happening. Now, meeting this person totally feels like coming home. I mean, you just energetically, you feel like you're now whole. You know, you can sometimes even start bringing up memories of other times and places that you have been with this person. Now, remember, you don't always hook up with them in every lifetime. That's a very important thing to remember. So if you're holding out and, pushing soulmates and everybody else aside, waiting for that soulmate or that twin flame to come, you might be out of luck because they don't always come every lifetime. Now, the two of you mirror each other's issues, concerns, and imbalances, but you also complement each other's skill sets and talents and capacities. The two of you together are the embodiment of yin and yang, which are the opposites which everything in this universe functions on. Now, because you are complete opposites, one person is quite often going to be a higher frequency, probably someone who's come in like a first wave or an indigo or a crystal or something like that. The other one will not be. Now, when we get back, we're going to talk about some of the other characteristics of the twin flame, and I'll be willing to bet you can probably find some of those in relationships in your life.
This is OTR-FM, part of the IOM radio network.
As difficult as it is to believe, there are places in Africa where human traffickers sell albino children and their body parts for use in magic rituals. Humanity Healing International is actively working in Uganda to change this paradigm. The Albino Rescue Project finds albino children who are at risk and places them in safe schools and environments where they can learn and grow free from fear. To learn more or to sponsor a child, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is.
Circle of Hearts Radio is a sanctuary on the airwaves. Join me, Grandmother Elia, in the circle on Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern as I share information to both enlighten and nourish your soul.
This is Terry Van Horn, and I want to invite you to join me for my weekly radio show, Healing Light, on Om Times Radio, every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. On Healing Light, we want to bring love, light, and blessings into your world. You can find out more about us at www.healinglightonline.com. Blessings.
Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of Om Times Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of Om Times. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
You're listening to OTR-FM, part of the IOM radio network.
Flames and twin flames. So we've been talking about the twin flames now and how to kind of recognize someone who is your twin flame. Now we talked about how, you're complete opposites. So your twin flame can be a totally different age. We see these relationships all the time. It's like one person's really old and one's really young or something. that happens. They can be the same or the opposite sex. Okay? They can have a vastly different background. They can even be, and this is a big one, opposing religions or belief systems. You're not agreed on, spirituality, most likely. But you feel that incredible unity and that sense of oneness with each other. So it's kind of hard to deny that you guys belong to each other. Now, you can feel each other's symptoms, illnesses, and emotions when you're near each other physically or when you're in communication with that person. You can also do this some with soulmates that you're really, really close to, but it's the biggest with twin flames. Now, this next one is that your functioning can be impaired or a little bit less when you are separated from your twin flame, because it almost physically or mentally hurts you when you're not together. Now, again, we're not with them every lifetime, but this is like once we do connect with them during a particular lifetime. And this is not clinginess or whininess or being a stalker. This is, just true feelings and emotions on a spiritual level. Now, when the two of you are in balance, you're going to become much stronger, more powerful, and more capable than you have been in your entire life. And the two of you working together are almost unstoppable anyway, because you feel so united in anything that you do. And you also feel as though you have a calling to serve others and the world. So your work together is going to be a little more altruistic rather than, just something financial. Now, the next one is that you have unconditional love with that partner, unlike what you have with anybody else. When you look at it with a twin flame, they can have like some habits and things that are total deal breakers for you or anybody else. But yet you totally overlook it with this person, no matter what it is, because you know you belong together. And by the way, we have to throw in a disclaimer there. If that deal breaker, habit or whatever, has to do with swinging or hitting, is not your twin flame or your soulmate, and you need to get out or get them out. But, this is just with other kind of things. Now, a lot of times what happens is that whenever we meet our twin flame, one or both of you could probably be in a relationship and unavailable. But you meet each other kind of, on an unconscious level when you least expect it. And then you connect with them a little bit later. But either one of you, or even both of you, might be really almost intimidated by the power of this connection, to the point where, one or both of you may end up just running from it because you're just like, oh my God, what is this? Sometimes years will even go by before you can really get together and feel like this fits. And that way you can commit to your relationship. Now, the person who runs from the relationship usually ends up waking up and realizing, how significant it is. And then they'll, come back together. Sometimes it can be because of a loss or an illness or some other kind of problem that gets the two of you united and working together. But, no matter how many times you break up, separate, try to get apart, something is going to bring you back together. And you're going to keep seeing signs and reminders of that person and the connection that you feel everywhere you go. So you're constantly going to be reminded of them and pushed back together. Now, the next description of it sounds like somebody who's bipolar, in that your relationship has extreme highs and extreme lows, and that includes passion and everything else. It's going to be unlike you've never felt before. That's because of the intensity. And you're trying to harmonize and you're trying to balance. And in doing that, what happens is you start pushing each other's buttons and testing each other's limits like nobody ever has before. And that's how you get the extreme highs and the extreme lows. Eventually, it starts to level out again, and you end up with a lot more highs than lows. And the relationship starts spending more time with the extreme highs. And that's when you know you've nailed it. Now, friends, family members, everybody else that you know and they know cannot believe you are still in this drama or still with this person. It's like, why are you still there? Why are you still dealing with this? I told you 100 times you need to get away from this person. And they will tell you because they care about you and the relationship is so chaotic. So even though they are saying that, you still have this feeling that, oh no, I have to be with them. I have to stay with them. But you see, what happens is that the growth that you experience and the lessons that you learn, and ultimately the person that you become in this relationship are much, much more significant. And this happens much more quickly and more powerfully than any other experience or period of growth in your life. So even though it may not be as loving and touchy-feely and smooth as a soulmate relationship, this is going to take you further and higher than any of those will. Now, this is whenever you start realizing that the soulmates that you've had and the relationships that you've had earlier in your life were preparing you for this reunion of the twin flame. Because a lot of times that twin flame will actually be almost like a collection of everybody that you've known and had a relationship before. Because each one of them was putting you in training. But when you meet them, it feels like you've waited your entire life. And you just kind of judge your life in two different things. You know, it's like before the twin flame and after the twin flame. But, you know, that relationship totally recharges and strengthens you once it gets balanced out. Now, I keep saying that because that's the key. Before that, you may be totally worn out. But once you balance, then it's amazing. You can heal, evolve, learn, and grow. Now, one of the key things about the twin flame is that whenever you're together, that's usually a sign that you're a very, very old soul and this is your last time here on earth. Because you guys have been bouncing and dancing around each other and going through all this stuff and learning things separately. So whenever you come together, then it's pretty much your last time on earth. So that's the reason why I'm saying it. You do not always connect with this person in every lifetime. But you know, the more that you spend time together and work together harmoniously, then the more you're going to be awakened to consciousness. And then, of course, you know that this person is your destiny. You know that this is your home, your other half, where you're reunited for eternity. And that's what helps you so that you can really find your twin flame and connect and to grow with them. So you see, usually what people are experiencing is relationships with soulmates. They're normally having, and you can have a really intense relationship with a soulmate. There is nothing wrong with that. And you can even have a relationship with a few different soulmates. That's okay too. Preferably not together, but separately. And that will help you learn and grow and be prepared for the relationship with the twin flame. I am in that now, and we alternate between adoring each other and trying to kill each other. Now, not literally, but, it's like we'll love each other to death. We still love each other, even when we really don't like each other. And we're working into creating that harmony. So it's not a real easy process, but you know that you belong together and you're supposed to be together. So I know that, I'm not going to do anything to really sabotage the relationship. Neither is he, even though sometimes it's hard for us to be in the same room at the same time. But that's because of the fact that we are twin flames. Now, we're about out of time, but I'll let you know that next Wednesday we're going to talk about the magic of crystals. And I will do a follow-up show about the toxic relationships because that's really important too. So thank you so much for being with me. This is Terry Van Horn. You can find me on healinglightonline.com and on Facebook on Healing Light. I wish you much, much love, light, and many, many blessings. Namaste.